Hey everybody, this is the Canadian Wolf bringing you a couple more Reddit stories. These ones come from the subreddit Tales from Call Centers. Let's get to it, Pack. Our first story is I have a lot of money. That is why I pay my bills every 3 months. So send me my free phones. I work in a telecommunications company and I am part of the mobility team for postpaid cell phone service, and I got this call from a really angry customer that wanted to renew the contract for both of his lines in the account. However, he was past due for around $400. If the customer is past due, he is not eligible for any renewal until he pays the past due amount and the account is current. Everything was good when customer was advised about that earlier today. But he made his payment through online banking. When the payment is made through online banking, it takes 2 to 3 business days to be posted. Back on the call, when I asked him how can I help, he was basically, "You are calling me a liar. You humiliate me." I'm really sorry to know that you are upset, but could you please give me more details about the issue? "You are so effing dumb. I tried to get 2 phones today and I already paid $600 and you won't give me my phones." I understand. In this situation, this is because the payment was not posted yet. But no worries, it just takes 2 to 3 business days to post and you can get your new phones. "No, I always pay." Yeah, every 3 months he makes a big payment and for some reason he thinks that he has a good credit, which is not true. "I can see that you have made your payments before. However, as of right now, we have past due amount we will need to wait until this is posted." Then the call went for about 5 minutes between, "Why are you calling me a liar?" "No, I'm not calling you a liar." He started cussing me, so I placed him on hold so he could calm down. When I returned, he thought that I was someone else and he practically said, "Are you a supervisor? I was speaking with a scumbag just right now." I do not take insults personally, so I did not care and I just said that I was not a supervisor and tried to explain again on why the system does not let us upgrade if he has a past due, but he just started to scream. And every time I was trying to say something, he will just scream at me, so I could not talk at all. But real screaming, like, "Ah!" At the end, he just insulted me a last time and hung up. I like to note that customer has a really bad credit history, and he thinks that he can get 2 Samsung S10 phone for free when the system is not going to approve such a high tier of contract for him. At the end, once he is allowed to renew, the less he can pay for the phones will be $400 each, and just because he was so annoying, he got an exception from retention team. RIP to the agent that has to explain the credit limitations to this person. He has so much money but can only pay his bill once every 3 months? Then he can't comprehend that it takes a few days for it to clear because he paid via banking and not by credit card over the phone? Just wait the 2 to 3 days and get the phones. Oh, and prepare to pay some more since you can't be bothered to pay your bill on time. Now, let's move on to our second story, turning an awful call into a great one. This was the second to last call on my shift last night, and it's still on my mind. I felt like sharing this experience might be helpful to someone. Sorry if it gets kinda long, I'm trying to keep it as concise as possible. A tiny bit of context. I work for a bank in their credit card servicing department. Most people are calling to make a payment or ask for a fee waiver, but I also get a lot of people just needing things like interest and payment allocation explained to them in a way that they can understand. Also, I work a 10-hour overnight shift that ends at 4:30 a.m. in my time zone. By the last couple hours of my shift, I'm tired, I'm ready to go to sleep, and my patience is wearing a bit thin. So this guy calls during the last hour of my shift, and before I can even get my greeting out, he's interrupting and telling me that he's going to complain a lot, that he's not going to apologize for it, and he's basically warning me that I'm in for a bumpy ride. I immediately dislike this person. I always hate it when they interrupt me right at the beginning, but I kind of appreciated the warning at least. When I finally get his account pulled up and can review things, there are pages and pages of notes and complaints filed, most of them saying that he is extremely hostile, rude, condescending, and will not let the agent speak. I'm thinking, great, this hole is going to ruin my whole day. I spend a lot of time on mute, rolling my eyes, making faces at my monitor, furiously typing up notes, and inwardly cussing this guy out while he basically yells in my ear. He's calling about a very simple issue and destroying my handle time with a lot of details I don't need. He doesn't understand how he paid X amount last month, much more than his minimum payment, and this month his interest charge and minimum payment hadn't really moved more than a couple of dollars. He was absolutely irate about this, and not a single person before me, including 2 account supervisors, were able to explain it to him in a way that he could understand. I am pretty sure this was because he would not shut the hell up. He left zero space for me to actually answer his question, and I finally did what we are all taught never to do: interrupt the customer. I cut him off and said, "Okay, just let me talk for a minute." I had to repeat this 3 times before he finally shut up and let me talk. I explained what he needed to know. I kept it simple. I dropped my customer service voice and just talked to this guy like he was my brother or uncle or whatever. Just some dude. By this point, the call has already dragged on long enough that I know quality assurance won't listen to it, and I've run out of shits to give. And then, an interesting thing happens. He starts to talk about a whole bunch of personal stuff he's been going through. I won't go into details, but he's had a pretty rough time the past few months, and he felt the need to explain why he was struggling so much with his credit card debt. He told me a lot of stuff about himself and his family that I really didn't want to know. But I sat there and listened. For 40 minutes I just listened and let him know that I've gone through some very similar stuff, and I understand how stressful and mentally exhausting it is. That was all it took for this horrible, terrible nightmare call to become a fantastic one. He was so happy that someone had finally just listened to him and had the patience to explain things in a way that he could understand. When this call started, I was pretty sure I was going to have to escalate this guy to a supervisor again, but at the end, I was transferring to a supervisor because he wanted to tell them how great I was. So, here are the lessons I took away from this. Don't let the first few seconds or minutes of the call dictate the direction it will go. Those notes from previous reps about this guy's attitude really set me up to expect a terrible experience, but it didn't have to be that way. I had decided that this was going to be a terrible call almost right off the bat, and doing that is really setting yourself up for failure. I could even argue that notating a customer's account for the next rep to see that this caller was rude or obnoxious really doesn't help things, and can actually make them worse. But, most importantly, listen. This is not the first time I've had a call like this, and just sitting there and listening has always, without fail, turned it around. Remember that these people are also human beings, and they are most likely dealing with issues in their own lives that are affecting the way they're behaving towards you. A lot of the time, they just need someone to be patient and listen to them. Talk to them the way you would talk to a friend or family member going through a difficult time. It really does help, and I went to bed that morning feeling like I had made a tiny bit of a difference in this guy's life. And that's a great feeling to have in a job that can be so soul-crushing. Well, that was quite the 180, and all it really took was to break that one rule. Don't interrupt the customer. Yes, there are times that this golden call center rule is important, but in this case, I truly agree with OP breaking it. By doing so, he was able to explain what he needed to, and then the customer opened right up. Maybe a little too much, but who's to judge? I'm sure we've all said more than what was needed at some point or another. Well, everybody, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed these stories. If so, make sure to hit that like button and go give the authors some upvotes on Reddit. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you know when my next video comes out. This is a Canadian Wolf saying, stay wild.